Did you know Jimmy Neutron has a crush on Miranda Cosgrove? Well, I mean Betty Quinlan. You sure remember her from an episode like Party at Neutron's or One of Us. Well, let's dive into Betty Quinlan's interesting story. First episode she appeared on was Crunch Time. In that episode, Jimmy makes some candy and it gets popular among the citizens of Retroville. It gets so popular that everyone gets hypnotized. What an original idea, huh? Well, at one scene that Jimmy Newton's classmates beg him for candy, we see a girl that is relevant. This is Betty. She is one of the most popular girls in Jimmy Neutron's school. Although as we see her further in the series, most of Jimmy's classmates do not show interest over her. She's also most likely to be on another class, although she is 11 like Jimmy. She definitely seems a bit older, maybe around 12 to 13, considering she is taller than the gang, but we never see her in Jimmy's class. There is actually a theory around Betty that originated from this episode. And that's not the smartest thing ever, but still an interesting theory to bust. They say every girl fell in love with Jimmy because of the candy, but when the candy was discontinued, everyone was mad, and all of the girls stopped caring about Jimmy. All of the girls, except Betty. Betty is so kind, she would never distrust someone who knows he can turn everything back to normal. So she kept loving him secretly, which can be confirmed by the fact that she danced with Jimmy. However, as confirmed in Season 3, she is not interested in him anymore, but she is a really supportive friend. Don't worry though, we'll get to that later. So yeah, what a bizarre theory. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, this might be true, but needs a little bit of overthinking. I've been talking a lot about the last episode, so let's go with that one quickly. So, Jimmy's bored, and his friends tell him to attend a party. He doesn't want to do it because his parents will find out, but Carl and Sheen tell everyone about the party. However, when they tell Betty, Jimmy rushes in his room to decorate everything. Then, everyone goes to the entrance, and when Jimmy sees Betty, he stops for a second and thinks for a while. I kind of like this scene because it shows how short is Jimmy compared to Betty. I feel like I want to put him besides my bed as a decoration. After those, the party gets at its all-time high and Jimmy hits it off with dancing with Betty. Wait, is that Pulp Fiction? I don't really know why, but they never let us dance in parties. Maybe if I was born in the 90s, it would be more possible. So Jimmy's parents were coming any second then, and Jimmy used his invention to fast forward the party. Everyone was exhausted, and Betty used her kindness in a smart way. She kissed Jimmy in the cheek. Man, I wish every decent girl was like that. So yeah, we are spotting a really weird behavior here, but it gets a lot weirder, trust me. Out Darn Spotlight was a legendary episode, and a massive chunk of it was just...
I'm sorry you didn't get a part, Jimmy.
No big deal. I don't care. I didn't really want to be in the play. You gotta put me in this play!
The episode itself is centered around a school play called Macbeth in Space. Jimmy was not planning to take part, but everything Betty-related seeks his attention. So, guess what happens? He auditions for the show because of Betty. In the end, Betty gets to be Macbeth's wife, and Nick gets to be Macbeth. Betty and Nick are actually a nice couple. Jimmy got to control the visual effects, which gave him the idea of ruining the play. To his surprise, there is a scene where Betty and Nick are kissing. Why wasn't that allowed in my school? Okay, enough complaining for today. So, the kiss was ruined, thankfully. And Betty didn't think it was on purpose. Like, I honestly don't even know what to believe anymore. The next day, it was the day the play would be done. And guess what? Nick broke his leg. So, Jimmy took his place. And now that I'm thinking about it, Betty was Jimmy's motive for wanting to be in the play in the first place. And she seems to know this, and offers him kind encouragement. So then, the actual play gets to be done. Everything goes fine, until Sheen accidentally ruins the kiss scene. Eventually, after all the chaos, the play ends and everyone, though everything was a part of the scenario. And now for the weird part. Towards the end of the episode, Betty kisses Jimmy on the lips, because they had never gotten to do so on stage, and for saving the play and their lives. And no, I'm not shouting this time, because this episode is iconic, and I don't want to ruin the vibe. You know, there's a crazy theory which this guy suggested. And now hear me out, it's going to be really nice. Okay, I think Beautiful Gorgeous is Betty's mother, and she sends her to spy on Jimmy. However, Betty just finds it a great opportunity to socialize with Jimmy. There are two things that make the theory not stand, but I can clear them out. First, Beautiful Gorgeous is only 18 years old, so it isn't possible she has an 11-year-old daughter. Or is it? Well, it is possible that she adopted Betty because she thought they really look alike. Second, Beautiful Gorgeous didn't know Jimmy, but the only time Betty asked Jimmy to meet her at her house was in season 3, and that was about a moment after Jimmy rescued Jet Fusion. Betty's last official and physical appearance was both segments of this specific episode. In the first segment, she was hypnotized by Grandma Tater's TV show, along with many other Retroville residents, and Jimmy did his research, only because in Betty's house, because it was a great opportunity to see her. This was actually a running gag in the episode, when he did things because of Betty.
I'm never going to watch that show again!
Why don't you come over to my house and watch it with me?
Beset once again by scientific curiosity, I decided to give the show another try at Betty Quinlan's house.
In the second segment, Betty and Jimmy are once again both the protagonists. Jimmy decides to put on a magic show in order to impress her. However, Cindy's unbridled jealousy causes the magic show to go awry, and they end up stuck in another dimension. Jimmy and Betty continue to flirt, which angers Cindy to the point of furiously attacking them and blaming the whole thing on Betty and Jimmy. So, Betty eventually gets fed up with Jimmy's and Cindy's bickering and calmly pulls Cindy aside to have a talk with her. She tells Cindy that she knows all about their love-hate relationship. Then she adds that Cindy should just relax and stay out of her face, because she is not interested in Jimmy at all.
I know all about the whole you and Neutron thing.
Thing? What thing? There is no thing. We don't have a thing.
Yeah, right. Just relax and keep out of my face. He's all yours. He's all yours.
He's all yours.
Let's go. We're fine.